and the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you all stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a brief moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The city clerk posted orders of adjournment of the November 14th, 2017 meetings and the agenda of the December 12th, 2017 meeting in accordance with state law and council authority successor agency to the redevelopment agency policy. Welcome, everybody. We're doing a little bit different today. Thank you for coming to the State of the City address. I want to welcome all my friends and distinguished guests. There are so many people from government and education and every other aspect of civil life here in El Cajon that I'm not going to mention everybody for fear that I might forget somebody. But thank you all for coming, and we really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to hear what's been happening in the city of El Cajon. Before I get started, I want to mention our city council, Councilmember Goebel, Councilmember McClellan, and Councilmember Kendrick. These are all your local elected officials, and I want to personally thank them for the dedication and the hard work that they put in constantly for your behalf, and I really appreciate them, and I'd like to give them a round of applause. For the past several years, our city has been focused on creating a new atmosphere throughout the community for our business community, our residents, and our visitors. 2017 saw El Cajon continue to make significant progress toward this goal. New and exciting things are continuing to happen in the city of El Cajon, and more is yet to come. The city of El Cajon is taking enormous strides to improve the quality of life and livability for its residents and businesses. The city is now engaged in major economic development efforts, making our city more efficient, increasing the safety of the community, and rebranding El Cajon as a family-friendly place. This State of the City will focus on these efforts. First, let's talk about some of our economic efforts. The El Cajon Valley of Cars is continuing to expand and has become one of the premier new automobile markets within the San Diego County. Several auto dealerships are renovating their current locations or are building new dealerships. Some of you may have come to the Mercedes-Benz grand opening that they had last week. Mercedes-Benz just recently hosted their grand opening for their new state-of-the-art 73,000 square foot sales facility on Marshall Avenue. This beautiful new home will help ensure the success in El Cajon for the next generation. Mercedes-Benz follows in the footsteps of the equally spectacular BMW of El Cajon dealership. That's from just a few years ago, and we can report right now that their sales are very good and they're doing very well. El Cajon Ford, Kia, and Honda El Cajon are all making or have already completed upgrades to their dealerships, and we can now report that newest dealerships will be coming into our city in 2018. Jaguar and Land Rover are also coming, two premier corporate brands that have chosen to call El Cajon home. And I want to say that this is really important because we, like any other business enterprise or city, have to bring revenue in to make sure that we can provide all the services to the police officers, the firefighters, all the great events we do, the streets, everything that happens at El Cajon costs money. And cities oftentimes look only towards raising taxes to bring that money in. And this is a way, by focusing on things that we're good at, which is car dealerships, it's a way for us to bring significant revenue into the city of El Cajon from throughout the county without raising taxes on our citizens. So I think it's been a really positive effort that we've made, and I'd like to thank our city manager for really spearheading that and doing a fantastic job. In our downtown El Cajon, we are just weeks away from celebrating the grand opening of the new outstanding Marriott Courtyard. It will be the first of its kind in our area and will fulfill a long need in the East County for a great business hotel that will serve families and tourists as well. Downtown is seeing 48 very high-quality new condominium homes at Park Road that are continuing construction and will finish this year, as well as the expected groundbreaking for the beautiful 70-unit Cornerstone residential and mixed-use complex on Sunshine Avenue. This will focus on veterans housing. Last year, the City Council also approved an exciting mixed-use development at the site of the former Salvation Army building on Main Street, and we hope to see construction of that project commence this coming year. After building the new Marriott Hotel, quickly on the heels of that, we'll see the Hilton Hampton Hotel. We will see the groundbreaking for the Hampton in 2018. This is a 96-room Hampton Inn by Hilton for a second high-quality hotel to be located on Fletcher Parkway. This new project will also include a combination of food and retail components to serve our residents and visitors alike. Business continues to thrive in the city. In recent years, Fox Shocks, which is difficult to say next to each other, Fox Shocks, has completed a major expansion of its factory in El Cajon and has brought hundreds of new jobs to our city. GKN has signed a multi-million-dollar deal with Rolls-Royce and the U.S. Air Force, resulting in even more jobs in their facility in El Cajon. Panera Bread, Chipotle, Dunkin' Donuts have all opened or are about to open new stores in the city. And just recently, we focused on and honored Taylor Guitars, which is the premier acoustic guitar in the entire world, and that's built right here in El Cajon, bringing lots of jobs and lots of prestige to our city. In addition, the city is partnering with MTS to create an exciting mixed-use development at our major trolley station. There's new residential developments in the city. Along with the housing projects in downtown, El Cajon is experiencing a boom in quality residential development throughout the city, unprecedented since the late 1970s. Almost 300 new homes are either under construction or currently being processed for approval in El Cajon. In business, the Project Assistance Center is a new public works and community development customer service initiative that combines all the city's development departments into a single streamlined process. We worked with the Habitat for Humanity and the Jimmy Johnson Foundation on a new phase of excellent single-family homes on the Foundation Lane. El Cajon continues to be the only growing city in San Diego without developmental impact fees, and that's a huge thing, thus enabling us to attract more businesses and great development to our city. For our residents, we've recently seen the launch of a new website. This makes the city attractive to residents and businesses, allow businesses to be carried out in a much more efficient manner through online payments and forms, has made it easier and quicker for residents to access important information. And we have now added live streaming of our city council meetings for the public. And if you do live stream the city council meetings late at night, you can get rid of your Ambien. It puts you right to sleep. The City of El Cajon pension reform was adopted by the City Council in 2013. We continue to implement this important policy initiative. We have had great success in contracting out numerous former city jobs to the private sector. That has sustained services to the public and significant taxpayer savings. We expect to continue this trend into 2018. Proposition O success. With the expiration of the half-cent sales tax from Proposition O in 2015, the city is in its final stages of completing all promised public safety capital improvements. These improvements have included the new police station, new fire station on Madison Avenue, and upgrades to our headquarters, Fire Station 6. And, of course, our great new animal shelter, which had its groundbreaking in June and is scheduled for its grand opening coming this new year. It will be the finest animal shelter in the region and something the entire community will be proud of. And I should say about Proposition O, to brag a little bit, the year that we allowed that tax, that half-cent sales tax, to expire, to sunset out, we had the option of trying to renew that. We decided as a council not to do that, making El Cajon the only city in California that year to lower its taxes. So that's something to be excited about. District elections. Last November, El Cajon voters approved Measure S, a city council-led initiative to create district elections. The process to create 4 voting districts in the city was successfully completed, and our very first district elections will be held this coming year. Let's talk about a little bit about the homeless situation. As we know, this region, and indeed the entire state of California, has been affected by the significant rise in homelessness. The city of El Cajon has responded in a strong and meaningful way. In 2017, the city of El Cajon has implemented unprecedented strategies to address the growing homelessness problem in this region. We are fortunate to have strong community partnerships, especially with the East County Homeless Task Force, the East County Chamber of Commerce, the East County Transitional Living Center, the Salvation Army, Crisis House, and many other community charities and religious organizations. Over the past decade, the city has financially supported the East County Transitional Living Center, Crisis House, Meals on Wheels, and other support organizations to the tune of almost $2 million, an enormous amount for a community of this size. In addition to this ongoing support earlier this year, the city's launched 6 programs which aim to reduce the number of individuals who are homeless and to mitigate the negative impacts that homelessness has on our community. Specifically, the city funded the Housing Navigator, who will help secure permanent housing for homeless individuals. To help the Housing Navigator secure housing, the city has designated $80,000 to be used as housing assistance. And I should point out that Councilmember Goebel was instrumental in spearheading this whole project, as well as our Chamber of Commerce. We thank you very much. The city has partnered with the Salvation Army by funding its Way Back Home program, a family reunification program. The city initiated a Real Change, Not Spare Change campaign, encouraging residents not to give money to panhandlers, but rather to support organizations that provide aid to the homeless. And I can tell you why that's important. If you take the East County Transitional Living Center, who provides 500,000 meals a year to the homeless, they can do that for about a quarter a meal if we give the money to them. So if you give your $5 to the East County Transitional Living Center, they can turn that into many, many meals, as opposed to the $5 you might give to an individual that may or may not use that to buy just one meal. So it's economics, and it makes sense. The city funded the launch of a homeless services app that helps connect homeless individuals with services. The city is offering to shelter the pets of homeless individuals seeking treatment or assistance. These bold actions have drawn attention from those in the region, and El Cajon has been recognized for its efforts by SANDAG and the San Diego Regional Task Force on the Homeless. I'll talk about some public safety improvements. Crime has decreased significantly in the city of El Cajon over the past 5 years. However, we are not resting on our laurels. The City Council has added 5 new police officers and 3 new firefighter positions during that same time period to ensure improved public safety. Our police crime lab has received coveted national accreditation, one of only 4 in the county to be so certified. Our police officers have greatly strengthened their community outreach efforts during the past years, such as development of the homeless outreach team, our efforts with our newcomer community. And talking about the police department makes me think about some significant struggles that we've had as a community in the past year and a half. We face challenges that most communities never face. Most communities in the entire world have not faced such significant challenges. And we had to call on our police department at that point, as well as every other department in the city, but specifically our police department, to protect us and to keep stability. And I want to tell them that I'm extremely proud of their efforts. The entire world was watching, and we came through with an A+, and I'm very proud of you. So thank you very much, and I'd like to give them a round of applause if you don't mind. We also have an outstanding fire department, and our fire department has implemented a new call triage system with an average of 13% decrease in emergency medical responses, freeing those resources up to better protect the community. They've also introduced a new first responder unit called Squad 6 to significantly augment safety to the community for emergency calls that may not need a full engine or truck company. This new vehicle will be on display just outside the City Council chambers this afternoon, and I want to say well done to the Fire Department and well done, Chief Stoll. Thank you very much. Several safe routes to school grants have been obtained to make our city streets more pedestrian-friendly and safer for the children. We completed a major safety and street improvement project on Greenfield Drive. We have developed over the years one of the most successful and aggressive street paving programs in the region, in which the City Council invested over $30 million into during the past decade. And I know it's not very exciting to talk about streets, but as Dirk will tell us, streets can be really exciting. But here's the exciting part for me. To fix a broken street, like some of the streets you'll see in the city of San Diego, it costs almost $4 per linear foot to fix that street. If we maintain our roads, that cost can be brought down to much less than $1 per linear foot. And so we really save a lot of money by being proactive. And I didn't realize this, but I was told that there apparently is some kind of organization that actually rates streets, and that there's a way of deciding how good streets are. And we have the highest marks that you can possibly get. So well done. Our Greenfield Police Department has initiated several programs to improve the safety of the city, including the crime-free multi-housing program, crime-free hotel program, expanded bike patrol teams, outreach to our immigrant communities, homeless outreach team, officers at the Parkway Plaza, citizens patrol programs, neighborhood watch, national night out, and community forums for pedestrian safety, just to name a few. Heartland Fire and Rescue continues to educate the community through various citizen engagement programs. Our outstanding CERT program, 3 academies occurred with over 22 graduates in 2016 and 2017. The department was awarded a Class 1 ISO rating, and I don't really know what that means, but I can tell you this, that the people that are involved in fire departments, that they rate each other, have given our fire department the highest rating, so much so that only 1 of 97 in the country, only 1 in 97 of the country out of 48,000 departments total has this rating. That is 0.2% of the fire departments in the country have the high rating that we have in this fire department. So well done, gentlemen and ladies. Heartland Fire and Rescue continues to educate the community through various citizen engagement programs. City ordinances created specifically over the past few years continue to improve the safety and quality of life. And one of the major ones from our city ordinance was the deemed approved ordinance, which was the ordinance that we enacted to control the sale of liquor in our city. And by controlling the sale of liquor, we decreased the number of people that are drunk in public. We virtually eradicated the number of adolescents or people below the age of 21 that have been drunk in public. We've significantly improved the problems we've had with serial inebriants on our streets. And I really want to point out Councilmember Gary Kendrick. He's been the champion of this for many, many years, and we should give him a round of applause. Excellent program. We also have ordinances regarding secondhand dealers, pawn shops, money lenders ordinance, hookah and vaping ordinances, and we've updated the city code to maintain a ban on marijuana dispensaries, cultivation, and deliveries within the city, successfully supported new state laws allowing for more local controls. And in regard to the marijuana dispensaries, I know it's can be a controversial issue, but illegal marijuana dispensaries should not be a controversial issue. They are not good for the community, and our community has taken a strong stand against them, and at this point have closed over 31 of the illegal dispensaries that have popped up, and we continue to fight that battle, imposing new restrictions, new fines, and having recently criminalized the process. So the city and the police department and our legal department, led by Morgan Foley, thank you very much, Morgan, have done an outstanding job in working hard to prevent marijuana dispensaries in your city. I want to talk about rebranding of El Cajon as a family-friendly place. One of the primary ways we've done this is by community events. The public events held in the city have continued to expand, hosting tens of thousands of people each year. Currently, the city has 5 major events that are geared towards bringing families and communities together. The St. Patrick's Day Run EC Half Marathon, which is in March. America on Main Street, which is in May. The 4th of July Picnic and Fireworks Show, which is in July. Haunt Fest on Main, which is in October. And we had over 40,000 people come to Haunt Fest, mostly kids, all dressed in costume. It was a really neat event. And, of course, the Mother Goose Parade in November. In this year, the Mother Goose had the largest crowd in memory, and it's just an excellent parade. I know that those of you like me who grew up in the East County have been going to that for all our lives. I remember going when I was 3 years old and being on my father's shoulders watching the Mother Goose Parade. It's just so great to see that come back every year. We also have a new event just recently called the Holiday Lights on Main event, which is also put on the Downtown Business Partners, and that culminates in the tree lighting ceremony, which I think is going to be destined to be one of the most quaint and fun things for people to do in El Cajon. Everybody gathers around, the streets are filled with people, they're singing Christmas songs, and the countdown comes, and the lights go on, and the tree gets lit up, and it's just a lot of fun, especially for the little kids. And Santa's there, and so the kids will just have a great time. The city also has weekly events going on in the downtown El Cajon area, put on by the Downtown Business Partners. This includes the car shows and the dinner and the concert series, which is really tells me that it's spring and summer when we start seeing the dinner and the concerts. And I think it's just so great to go out there on a Friday night and see the Prescott Promenade filled with people dancing and singing and having a good time. It really just reminds me of what a community should all be about. I also want to tell you about the reopening of the East County Performing Arts Center. Finally, perhaps nothing more is exciting in El Cajon than the announcement of an agreement with Live Nation to manage and market the East County Performing Arts Center. It is appropriate that the final approval of this agreement will be heard by the City Council later this afternoon. Live Nation is the premier live entertainment producer in the world, and we are incredibly excited to have this great organization partner with El Cajon and bring top quality entertainment and events to our downtown. This is a fantastic thing. Never in our wildest dreams did we think we could get Live Nation to take us on and bring all their great talent to El Cajon. And I got to tell you, I wish I could tell you that I had anything to do with this, but I did not. Doug Williford, he's got to embarrass him, but he went to a convention. He went up to their desk. He harangued these people until he finally got hold of some executive vice president in New York. And it took a while, but he made it happen, and now we are signing on the dotted line, and they're going to bring us what I think is going to be up to 70 top shows a year in the East County Performing Arts Center, and we can finally use that Performing Arts Center up to its capacity. I'm very excited, and thank you, Doug. In conclusion, all these items together show that El Cajon is on the move and is truly a great place for people to live, work, and play. I am very proud of all that the city has accomplished. I'm looking forward to the bright future ahead. With all the positive things that have occurred over the past several years, I can truly say that for the city of El Cajon, the best is yet to come. Thank you for coming and spending your afternoon with us. Thank you for all the things I know all of you do to volunteer throughout the year. I see so many faces that I know you work hard and you give of yourselves in so many different ways, and that is truly appreciated. I wish you all a wonderful holiday season and a Merry Christmas, and we will see you at the 3 o'clock council meeting. Thank you very much. we're breaking, right, until... ladies and gentlemen, we are, if you'd like to join us next door, we have some refreshments in the City Hall building, and we'd like to see and talk to you over there. Thank you very much. Greenberg, McClung, come and to us to present the award, please. I'd like to ask the City Council to please join me below. Hi, come on in. Just give me the award.
Okay. Christy will get an award.
Oh.
Christy will do it.
Monica, are we reading this one? Hold on, we are figuring this out.
Is Frank Carson here? Michelle is apparently going to handle the award.
Well, are you presenting this award?
I am presenting the award.
Tell us a little bit about this award.
Okay, so...
I'll hold this for you.
Okay. So...
First, I'll tell everybody who you are.
Okay, I'm Michelle Greenberg McClung. I work for the City of La Mesa. I'm the... Oh, you're here now. I'm the Community Services Manager, and I've been a member of WILS. We call it WILS. It's Women in Leisure Services. Women in Leisure Services has 5 different chapters. We've got San Diego County. We've got Orange County. We have Los Angeles area. We have Minnesota, and we have a new chapter in Chicago. Women in Leisure Services is women who are member or professional women in the field of recreation, parks and recreation. And WILS has been around since the 60s, I believe. In San Diego County, we have our Delta chapter, and it was established many years ago, and it restarted again in the early 90s. Well, I've been a member of WILS since 91, and Christy has joined WILS, Women in Leisure Services, for the past 2 years. And we have an award we call the Women of Distinction. And with this Women of Distinction award, we really don't have any guidelines for the recipient, but how we look at it as a board on the Women of Leisure Services is a member that has stepped up to the plate, has gone above and beyond what a regular member would do. So Christy joins, and then she just goes gung-ho, and she comes up with all these ideas, and she says, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. Christy is young, she's vibrant, she's enthusiastic, she's ready to go, and we're like, and our motto is you have to die to get off the board. Well, Christy has proven us wrong that you don't have to die, but you can still be a part of the board. And Christy's now our president, and she's coming up with all these ideas and making up this cute magnet. And we've got new members since Christy's been a part of WILS. So we, the board, decided, without Christy knowing that she's on the board, that she was going to be the recipient of the Woman of Distinction Award. So Christy, this is Christy's award. And she received the award at our Bosses Day luncheon, which we hold every year in October for Bosses Day. And at that particular luncheon, we hand out the Women of Distinction Award. So, Women in Leisure Services, WILS, Chi Kappa Rho Delta Chapter gives the annual citation award to Christy McBride in recognition of her outstanding service to Delta Chapter 2017-2018. So, Christy, the motto for you now, you have to die before you get off the board. So congrats.
Well, the support that I get from the women in this group is truly wonderful. I've been working for the City of El Cajon. I started part-time when I was just 16 years old, and I've been here ever since. So the City of El Cajon hasn't gotten rid of me this whole time. I know firsthand how impactful these classes that we offer through the Recreation Department are, and that's what's kept me around all these years. And then getting to be part of this Wills group, to have the support of other women in the industry has been just truly amazing. So thank you for believing in me and helping me along my journey here.
All right, thank you. The council would like to shake your hand, and thank you for, we're all very proud of you. Thanks. Thanks for doing that. All right, agenda changes. Staff, do you have any agenda changes?
I do, Mr. Mayor. Would like to, we can eliminate the closed session item. I believe that was 15.1 from today's agenda.
Okay, great. Thank you. Council, any agenda changes? I'd like to make a motion then to approve the agenda changes. Moved and seconded, please vote.
Motion carries by a 4-0 vote with Councilmember Colasso absent.
We are now at consent items. Consent items 1.1 through 1.19 are routine matters enacted by one motion according to the recommendation listed below. With the concurrence of the City Council, a council member or member in attendance may request discussion of a consent item at this time. Council members, do you wish to pull any of the consent items? Councilmember Goebel.
I'd like to pull item 1.10 and 1.13.
Okay. Any other consent items we pulled? Staff, do you wish to pull any consent items?
No, sir.
Angela, do we have any speaker cards for consent items?
We do item 1.5.
Let's hear that one first.
Sean Myers.
Hello, Mr. Myers. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Sean Myers with Automated Controls. Back on November 6th, we submitted a protest to the award of item 1.5 based on the Municipal Code 3.20.130 for not having at least 3 responsible bidders. The response back to us was El Cajon Municipal Code 3.20.130C does not reference the procurement of public projects. I'm confused there. The beginning of this starts off with all contracts for public projects for more than the dollar amount established by Section 20162. So it does, in fact, reference public projects. Therefore, our protest, we feel, should still be considered based on not having 3 prospective bidders.
All right, let me see if there are any questions, and I have some questions of the staff. Council, any questions? Staff, would you tell us a little bit about this? And
Yes, I'll ask Nahid Razi, our purchasing agent, to come and respond to that. Nahid, thank you.
Sir, thank you very much for coming. We're going to hear from somebody else, and then we'll take a vote.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council members. I'm Nahid Razi, purchasing agent. To address the speaker, we received a protest from Automated Controls within the time limit required on November 6th, and to reference the municipal code, the City of El Cajon's Municipal Code 3.20.10 states that all contracts for public projects over a certain dollar threshold shall be awarded by the City Council, which is why this item is presented before you today. However, the second part of the same section goes on to state that the purchases of equipment, services, or supplies shall be awarded by the purchasing agent, given that certain conditions are met, and one of those conditions is to have at least 3 responsive bidders. So since the City Hall HVAC bid is a public project and not the purchase of equipment or supplies, the conditions established in the second part of the referenced municipal code are not applicable to this project.
So you feel comfortable that everything was done in the proper way?
That is correct.
Mr. Goebel?
Were there 3 bids submitted before the deadline?
No, this was an open and competitive bid. Only 2 bids were received.
Was automated controls one of those?
No, they were not.
Did they receive legal adequate notice of the invitation to bid?
The bid was advertised according to our policies, so yes, it was advertised publicly.
So they had the opportunity to bid,
That is correct.
and they did not submit a bid by the deadline,
That is
but
correct
they
as
submitted a
well.
protest after the deadline because there weren't
Correct.
3. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any questions of staff before we? All right, so it seems like everything was done properly. I would make a motion to approve 1.5. Moved and seconded, please vote.
Motion carries by a 4-0 vote with Councilmember Colascio absent.
All right, let's then go to item 1.10.
1.10, just one question.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Was there another speaker card?
No, sir. I'm sorry, that was turned in as public comment.
Okay. Mr. Attorney, I'd like to give everybody the opportunity to speak, but we've already voted. Can we rescind the vote and start over at this point?
Yeah, you'll need a motion to rescind the vote and then bring back the next.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion then to rescind the vote. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, please vote. Then I'm going to reopen the public hearing and ask the 2 gentlemen, one at a time, to come and speak. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate
your name
that.
is?
My name is Chris Friend. I'm from ETC Building and Design.
Okay.
We're one of the 2 general contractors that bid the job. Basically, I'm here today to protest. We submitted a protest letter stating that we were the lowest bidder. We should be rewarded the job. The response was that they rewarded the bid on the they awarded the bid based on the base bid. So they were the low number based on the low bid, if that makes sense. So there's a base bid, an alternate bid, and a second alternate bid. They were the low number on the base. We were the low number overall by 17.
I'm sorry, when you say they, who's they?
National Air, I'm sorry.
And they're the ones that awarded the contract?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So they were basically low on the base bid by, they were $1.1817, $1,181,700. We were $1,258,216,000. Now, the reason I come here today is overall, like I said, we were the low bid. Now, the city, when this bid was put out, they put out a budget of $1.2 million. So the other part of this is it's to be awarded to the most responsible bidder. Our opinion is that we are the most responsible bidder because there is no way that we could have got under 1.2. Now, we could have very easily did what our feeling is National did, is took some of the overhead out of the base number and put it on the second alternative, because it's basically, if you look at our numbers, on the second alternative, they were basically $89,000 higher than us, and on the first bid, we were $76,000 higher. So it clearly shows that that number was pushed over. It's our opinion, we bring this up also because in this market right now, the way everything is bidding, the last 4 jobs we bid have been within 5%. This job was within 1%. So 17,000. I mean, everything is bidding extremely tight. Everybody knows what the markup is, what we can put. and just what you can get away with. And basically, again, it's our opinion that it would not be responsible for us to put that number under 1.2 because we literally could not do the job for that and make any money if the city decided just to award the base bid. So
You're asking us to rebid the contract?
I'm asking you to consider ETC as being the most responsible low bidder. Because again, overall, we were $17,000 low, so you're getting the same thing, but you're going to be charging the El Cajon City taxpayers $17,000 more.
Let me see if there's any questions for you. Any questions? Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
And sir, you're next. We got all squared away? Anybody else that wanted to speak on this issue? All right, I'd like to pass it on to Morgan.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. The speaker points out that we bid this project with additive alternatives, and under the public contract code, which we follow, and our code requires us to follow, you have to detail whether you're going to judge the lowest price based on the base bid or the additive or deductive alternatives, or a prioritization of those additive and deductive alternatives. We bid this project only on the base price, so we have to, by law, follow the rules, which are that you award it to the lowest responsible and responsive bidder based on the base bid, not taking into consideration the additional, the added alternatives. So we could not award it to this gentleman's business based on the bids that we received.
Thank you for that for clarification. Mr. City Manager, anything you wanted to add?
Nope.
Okay. Gentlemen,
Mr. Foley, is there any evidence that the company that was selected is not responsible?
No, we've not received any information that they're not responsible. Responsibility is a very technical term in the construction industry, and would be in a situation where somebody has been placed on a list of non-responsible parties and things of that nature. It's damaging to the reputation of the contractor if you choose them to be non-responsible at all, and that results in obviously a hearing process as well. So we did not find that there was a need to find them non-responsible.
all right, any other questions? It seems to me that we have no choice in the matter, and again, I would recommend that we approve item 1.5. Moved and second, please vote.
Vote carries, motion carries by a 4-0 vote with Councilmember Colasso absent.
All right, 1.10.
1.10, just one question for staff. Disposal of retired property includes computers and other things with memory drives. Can the public be confident that all personal information or sensitive information has been removed from these devices before they're given for surplus sale?
Absolutely.
I'd like to make a motion to approve item 1.10.
Second. Please vote.
Motion carries by a 4-0 vote with Councilmember Colasso absent.
Then 1.13.
Item 1.13, I notice that Senate Bill 341 allows for the city's housing authority to charge up to 2% for administrative and overhead, which would have allowed the city to charge up to $287,000 for this. Yet we only charged $95,563. That seems like a good deal for taxpayers, that we are run efficiently, we are not overhead heavy, and that money really is going to housing and not so much for overhead. So I feel very good about the city's performance and the staff's performance in not using up all that we could in terms of overhead. So I'd like to commend staff for that.
Thank you. We'll commend the Department of Community Development that makes that happen.
Great. So I'd like to motion to approve item 1.13.
Second. Moved and seconded, please vote.
Motion carries by a 4-0 vote with Councilmember Colasso absent.
All right, now we have the remainder of the consent items, with the exception of 1.5, 1.10, and 1.13. I make a motion to approve. Moved and seconded, please vote.
Motion carries by a 4-0 vote with Councilmember Colascio absent.
This brings us to public comment. At this time, any person may address a matter within the jurisdiction of the City Council, Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency that is not on the agenda. Comments relating to items on today's agenda are to be taken at the time that the item is heard. State law prohibits discussion or action on items not on the agenda. However, council, authority, and agency members may briefly respond to statements or questions. An item may be placed on a future agenda. Angela, do we have any cards in a public comment?
We have several. The first one is Therese Perez.
Hello, welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
I want to pull that microphone down a little bit.
Down here?
There you go. Perfect.
Here?
Yeah, that
There?
works. That works.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am a newbie, and excuse me if I'm very nervous. I have with me signatures from my neighborhood. I'd just like to let you know what's going on with us. We are the undersigned residents of the state of California, County of San Diego, City of El Cajon, do hereby request to have the streets in which we reside on to be considered for permit parking. The reason for this is because our neighborhood encompasses the streets of Berrydale, Burnett, and Adele. These streets are located in the jurisdiction limits of the City of El Cajon. Our street parking is being taken from us by the use of the residents in the surrounding apartment buildings. These apartment buildings are located in San Diego County. We are just on the limits of El Cajon up in the north area of Pepper Drive and Bradley. Trash, abandoned cars, drug paraphernalia, used blood-borne pathogenic sex items are just among the few of the items that are being left in our neighborhood for us residents to clean up. The fact that we are unable to park in front of our own homes has become a safety issue, and we are respectfully asking for the city's help on what we can do to alleviate this problem. I have my grandchildren over. It's not safe for them. My 92-year-old mother-in-law lives next door. People park and block her driveway, and we can't get in or out if we had to take her to the doctor. But anyway, there's just a lot of things that are going on in the neighborhood. I don't know who's timing me. Where's the timer?
It's okay.
Okay.
You're fine. Go keep going.
Sorry, newbies, okay. But it's really become a problem. The apartment complexes come in and take all of our parking. Our kids go to college. They work at night. They can't even park in front of our houses. They have to park down on Bradley Street. And the big problem is with Bradley is that it's the 4 in-houses, 5 maybe, have been purchased by the County of San Diego and are to be torn down for the widening of Bradley Avenue all the way from Mollison through the bridge that goes over 67, as you probably know. These houses are abandoned, and they are now homes for the homeless. They have ripped open the fence panels, and they crawl back into these houses, and now they live in these houses in the backyard. They use the bathroom there. They make their own bathroom. We have a neighbor who's going to talk in a few minutes. She's really been on top of everything with this County of San Diego to get something done, and they are working with us. But we want you guys to know, you people to know, that we are trying to push for this, and we don't want the San Diego County to call you up and say, hey, we got these really irate neighbors, and we want to know what's going on. We want to give you a heads up on what's over there. It's awful.
We appreciate that.
Okay?
What I'd like to do is have you work with staff. Mr. City Manager, could you assign a staff member to work with this woman?
Yes, it'll be Director of Community Development, Tony Shute. And Tony,
See, Tony, he's over there?
He's right there. Thank you for your information.
I thank you very, very much for everything you do.
What I'd like you to do is meet with Tony, work with him on this issue. He'll tell you what can and can't be done, and then come back and talk to us again. and tell us how things are going, whether you're really happy or not completely happy.
Okay.
And come back and let us know so we can work with you on this, because this is a process, and everything you've said is legitimate, and I understand how frustrating all of this can be. And so let's see what we can do, and then let's get back together again. Our next council meeting is in January.
Thank you so very much for all that you do.
Thank you.
Tony's a good guy. I think you'll like him a lot. See, he's smiling already.
Next speaker is Sharon Hoffman.
You think you got to? She was a good representative, so thank you. Don't have to speak. It's okay. Thanks.
Joseph Lavec.
Hello, Mr. Levesque. Welcome.
Thank you. First, I want to compliment Elkhorn Police Department. They have been awesome. Got great public relations in our neighborhood because of them. They've been out quite a bit lately. I really did not meet this lady, so it wasn't preset. But we live on the other end of town. We're having the same issues. The homeless, as you know, is a huge problem for the city. I've got grandkids that can't come over anymore because they're having sex in cars in front of me and parked in front of my house. They're shooting up with hyper needles. The neighborhood has just really gone down. I'm here to see if there's something you can do. Do you have a plan of action to minimize this or to rid it? I've got one idea I'd like to share with you. We've got 3 houses at the end of the street. God only knows how many people live in there. They're homeless. They rent out the rooms, and there's only allowed to be so many in a room. So the other people are waiting in the backyard, or they're waiting out in the driveway, and they sleep in shifts. And so at 3 o'clock in the morning, they do a shift, and then they're running down the streets, vandalizing our cars. I can't take my kids over here to the library. It's like a war zone. The city parks are all congested with the homeless. I think it's just going to get worse. It's going to be like the city of San Diego, and they haven't done a darn thing in the last 15 years until the population and the businesses are irate. Now they're building tent city. I don't want El Cajon to have to wait to that point. A plan of action, may I suggest maybe when you have multiple residents, it's not a single-family resident any longer. It's a multi-resident dwelling. A license, a permit should be the owner's responsibility in order to rent these rooms out to multi-tenants. You got to get this under control because they're just running our streets rampant. We had 3 cars broke into on our street this week. Hyper needles everywhere. Parking is the same issue. The city was kind enough to paint this whole corner red because the homeless are sleeping in the bushes around, and now all of the cars are parked on our street, so we're probably going to come back to you for a parking permit on our street. Okay, but anything you can do, you've got the public support. You need to maybe talk to an attorney, find out if you can make some variances or permit issues going on with these homeless renters. But the public is here to help you if you can help us combat this problem. Okay, we took it in our neighborhood. We're physically going down and challenging these homeless to get out of our neighborhood. Okay, so help us help you.
Well, first off, I appreciate you coming. I want you to know that this is not a surprise to us that this is an issue. We talk about this almost constantly now. The city of El Cajon has seen a 35% increase in homeless in the last 2 years, whereas beach communities have seen 100 to 150% increase in homelessness in the last few years. This is everywhere in the state of California. It's an epidemic.
Sure.
There are things that we can do, and we are doing many things. Like the city manager has recently brought us a plan to completely revamp Wells Parks to make it safer and to make it less attractive for homeless individuals. We work really hard. We don't allow sleeping on the streets and tents on the streets like other communities do. We do everything we can as far as enforcement goes. But I do want to tell you, you live in the state of California, and the state of California has
warm weather.
No, well, more than warm weather. They have a political system that many people in the state are advocates for the homeless lifestyle.
Sure.
And they do pass a lot of laws, and and make a lot of regulations that make it very difficult for the police department or the cities to regulate homeless in the way that a lot of people think would be common sense. And so we have a lot of restrictions on us on how we can interact with homeless people on the streets. So I just want you to know that we are spending money, we're spending time, we're involved in working with the Homeless Task Force. We support the East County Transitional Living Center. We're doing everything we can within the limits of the laws of the state of California to try to make this a better situation. And it's an ongoing battle. I think we're making progress. I think we're winning, but it's going to be a while.
Well,
but it does not mean that your government does it all by themselves. It takes people like you to get involved and organize their communities and have neighborhood watch programs and work with the police department. And there's lots we can do, and with your help, we'll make progress in this area, and I appreciate you coming.
Mr. Mayor?
Can I see a
if
plan of
could
action?
Could I ask, sir, excuse me, I didn't hear what street you're on, your neighborhood?
Herbert?
Herbert?
It's on the
Okay.
corner. Herbert and Taft is where they like to congregate.
Okay, I have that information. If you could, I'm city manager's office, if you could
Okay.
contact my office with an email,
All
I
right.
will be talking to the police chief. We'll get back to you.
Okay.
Can somebody get him a card?
Because I'd like to see a plan of action and different things that you say you're spending money. I want to see where it's going, what's happening. Okay?
You know, I appreciate you being involved. I have no heartburn whatsoever with you
You'll be hearing
asking
from
these
Alice
questions.
right there. She's actually, I'm old and tired of this fight, but she's the new kid on the block.
Oh, good.
And she's going to be taking over and beating the drums and working with you guys, and maybe put in a request for more PERT people. They're beautiful.
Just because you're
just need
you're
more.
40 years old now doesn't mean that you have to quit. I mean, you got some time left. So
No, I don't quit. I just go down fighting, but...
okay, listen, pick up that card and keep in touch with us, and feel free to come back to other council meetings. And I think Mr. McClellan wants to talk to you.
Yeah, do you have a neighborhood watch program in your neighborhood?
Well, we sure has got one going now.
Okay.
Thanks to that young lady over there.
Okay, and one other thing, a number of years ago, I've been on the council a while.
I know you have.
And maybe 15 or 20 years ago, there was a program in San Diego. It's called Safe Streets Now.
Right.
And basically what that is, and I think the community the community policing people handle that or can handle that, but what it is a group of residents in an area where they are having problems like nuisance problems and everything with a particular house or residents, that you can document what's happening over a certain period of time. And then you can go to small claims court and you can sue the property owner up to $7,500 per individual. And if there's 15 of you on the block or 20, that would be $150,000 in small claims court. And that usually cleans up some of these residences. So
Well, my experience with small claims court is you really don't have a claim unless you can claim a loss.
Well, you
so
have
what's
to-
your loss? Privacy, mental stress, that's not going to go
you
anywhere
have
in
to
small claims.
document these things, and the police may be able to tell you how to. Can you do that?
Yeah,
Can you
you-
show them that?
you can
Yeah,
put it a
he's
claim.
nodding back there, so
Yeah.
the gentleman.
It's about damages. But anyway, the thing is that, they have their rights. You're telling me the homeless has rights, they got legal representation, but you know what? We're paying the city salary, we're the taxpayers.
Right.
We have rights. Do we have more rights than them? Maybe, maybe not. That's arguable. But I have a right to go to the city park with my grandkids. I have a right to go to the library with my grandkids. I won't and can't.
Yeah.
I think you need a plan, and I want to hear that plan from the city manager's office. You say you're spending money, and I appreciate that, but I want to see what is being accomplished, because it's going to get worse before it gets better, and we need to stop it.
Well, you need to talk to the officer in the back, and he may be able to help you in your neighborhood.
You got great officers.
Yeah, I know.
How
we
many
do.
officers per person do you have here in El Cajon? One per 10,000 people?
No, we have a lot more than that. We have 100,000 people, 124 sworn officers.
Okay, so we got one per 1,000,
For 8,000.
about. Okay.
Yeah, well, about 1.800.
But anyway, if they have enough, I don't know. But they seem to be doing a wonderful job for us. I think we call them an awful lot. But anyway, I want to see this plan of action that you have to minimize this and to clean up our parks and clean up our library. I noticed your sign, and you got a degree in that. Don't feed the homeless, and that's not a bad idea. They get all their income tax-free. We know that. But anyway, thank you for your time.
Thanks for coming. Keep us informed, okay?
I'm going to. I'm going to be working with this gentleman, or Alice is going to be working. You'll be hearing from Alice probably.
Excellent.
But I'm not dead yet.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Naomi Swinford.
Hi, Ms. Swinford. Welcome.
Hello.
You pull that microphone down so we can hear you.
Good afternoon. My name is Naomi Swinford, and you might want to stop me because I can talk forever. My thing right now is people aren't understanding the law, that aren't speaking the language. They're community partners, and one of my good friends is Iraqi, and they just lost their dad. They didn't understand it, giving still to the homeless. So I think my suggestion is put flyers out in their language, and I'd be happy to put the flyers out. I put them out for everybody. And the other thing is, I agree with the people talking about the homeless. People are afraid to even go to the park anymore with their kids. And outside my gate, we're supposed to be supposedly getting our property sold to another company, and it's been up in the air. And I hired an FBI, me. I wanted to make it better, and I put myself in danger doing it. And I've been having knives pulled out on me. I'm getting stalked all over town. We have them outside our gate, and we had a car stolen inside our parking lot. And part of the problem is inside, too. But we've got a lot of changes that are going on, too, I can absolutely observe. But we have the best manager we've ever had. And I don't know what they're going to do with her, but she's a go-getter. She's done more. But she's taken on the problems of every other manager, and mostly the maintenance aren't doing the job, and they don't have enough help to do it. We need a security inside our building 24/7. During the Thanksgiving, I spent 16 hours in the bathroom, and I finally went to my girlfriend and said, I don't have a phone, and next door, and I went up there, and if it weren't for the La Mesa police, they tried to call everybody to get me in. I asked before I went up there, and I got belligerent because I've been diagnosed with bipolar. The first thing they asked me is, do you have bipolar? Yes, but I also am not allowed to take anything, even with the medications, because I'm allergic right now with everything, and they're testing me for tumors, and I have calcemia, and they're testing me for Hashimoto right now, and tumors and bleeding and infection, so I can't take anything, and I don't know how dangerous it is not to take these shots you're talking about, but I want to tell you that people are letting each other in. We have people jumping over the walls. They stole a car in front of my house, in my parking lot. We have a drug problem inside and out. And the trouble is, we have fighting and screaming, and I really, truly believe that the people in my building also don't, they want the manager I'm here to be here. However, they don't want to tell her anything. So it's usually, if you don't tell her anything because you're too scared to tell them, you stay in or you just hide. And I just want to know that if you could do anything in this town, I suggest that we all come as one, because that's what we're trying to do here.
Well, ma'am, thank you very much for coming and telling us. Your red light is up, so we have to call it a day, but I appreciate you coming.
I appreciate it, and if you need me to put the flyers, I'll be happy to do that.
We'll let you know. Thank you very much.
And I'll see you at the St. Patty Walk.
Indeed. I see you all the time, don't I?
Miss Bonnie Price.
Hi, Bonnie.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I know you've been working on the issue of homelessness, and I've heard some of the reports, but I would like to draw people's attention to major causes of homelessness that should make the city gear up, actually. One, we had a closure of state mental health facilities a long time ago, and we have a lot of homeless people who are mentally ill and do not get good service. We have a decline of good-paying jobs because of the decline of unions and the failure of minimum wage laws to increase pardon me, wages. And the biggest thing is the technological displacement of workers. That's increasing exponentially every year, and it's estimated in less than 20 years that all long-haul trucking will be self-driving trucks. So you're facing a problem that's going to grow and grow and grow, and it's not your fault, but of course you're stuck with the bill and stuck with the problems that people are outlining. So I urge you to work more on this and develop a long-term plan to accommodate this. The other thing I wanted to talk about briefly is the need for a climate change plan. If you don't have an action plan, you should have one. I see on the agenda today you passed 1.4 about electric charge stations. Good. That's a start. And also 1.12, after action, put out the fires. Hope we don't have any. Here, as you know, there are big fires in California up north of us. We should have a climate action plan in place, and that's only going to get worse and worse as we find the climate heating up because of greenhouse gases, especially with fossil fuels. And I would like to recommend again that you get busy with community choice aggregation so that energy costs can be lowered for the residents and people will be able to turn on their air conditioners even if they're on Social Security, assuming Social Security survives. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Shane Parmalee.
Hello, welcome.
Hi. Just want to wait a second so you get the letter. Make sure you all have a hard copy of it. So my name is Shane Parmalee, and I'm back to update you on the wonderful work that has happened in response to El Cajon's discriminatory and unconstitutional ban on food sharing events for homeless people. On November 19th, Break the Ban held a very well-attended event, about 100 people. El Cajon residents were extremely thankful for what we were offering and expressed their disappointment that the local government had singled them out for such unkindness. We got really good press coverage. The following weekend, Food Not Bombs hosted an event that was double in size. About 200 people came. There were lots of kids at that event. Police showed up for a disturbance in the parking lot and left without approaching us. KUSI did a really good job of covering the bathroom situation at Wells Park. A lateral sewage line had collapsed in June, and there has been no bathroom services at the park since then. People are supposed to, the kids who are there playing, there are 4 porta potties at the park, and the 3 drinking fountains have been converted into hand washing stations, and there's soap dispensers in between them. And if you watch that KUSI report, you'll see that water barely trickles out of the drinking fountain, and that's where people's children are supposed to go get a drink if they get thirsty while they're playing at the park. Upcoming events, we have more upcoming events scheduled. Friday, December 22nd, Food Not Bombs will be hosting another one. I'll definitely be there. And then there's another one in the works with a different organization. There are several private attorneys who have volunteered to come help sue the city of El Cajon. I think they already have one client already, a married couple that's been delivering food to homeless people in the park for years. Last Friday, the ACLU sent you attorney sent you a letter, which I just gave you a copy of, detailing the many ways in which this ordinance is unconstitutional. And they ask what we have been asking, that the city of El Cajon sit down with all the stakeholders, including people in this room, regarding the issues that have been raised in order to create a community, a plan that actually affects everybody in a positive way. San Jose recently passed a similar ban that this city has passed and had to rescind it. They made national headlines for that. And you're going to have to rescind this ban for the exact same reasons that they did. So I ask that instead of making El Cajon famous for all the wrong reasons, that you make El Cajon famous for the right reasons. I find the tone here today a little bit disturbing in the way that you spoke about the homeless residents of your city. And I realize that there are a lot of people here talking about how homeless residents impact their neighborhood. And so I would just like to ask you, who is your neighbor? Because Jesus has some great parables in the Bible, and he was very clear on this. He was very clear on this one. And so I'm going to just ask everybody, since I don't have time, to go back and read the parable of the Good Samaritan, because it was not the priests who walked by. It was not the Levites who are sitting right here. That's you. It was the Samaritan, the outsider, the other. That's who stepped in, and that was the neighbor. So please ask yourselves, who are your neighbors? Thank you.
Thanks.
Last speaker is Patricia Zamora.
Hello, Ms.
Good
Zamora.
afternoon.
Welcome.
Hi. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, Mayor Wells and councilmen and community leaders. My name is Pat Zamora. I am the Director of Programs for Crisis House. And you had mentioned today, you talked a little bit about our new collaboration that we're doing with finding permanent housing for at least 25 of our local citizens. That particular collaboration we're referring to as East County Housing Connections. And we have today with us, and I'm glad to present her, is Karina Hernandez. And Karina Hernandez is going to be the housing navigator for Crisis House, working specifically with the community in the city of El Cajon. Karina?
Hi, Karina.
Hi.
Welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Karina Hernandez, as Pat just introduced me. I have been at Crisis House for the last 2 years. I have a master's in social work with a concentration in forensic social work from Cal State LA. In working with Crisis House for the last 2 years, I have been a case manager for individuals with a substance abuse problem for the Transitional Housing Program in collaboration with Mental Health Systems Drug Court. I then moved on to helping the Rapid Rehousing Program and became the Domestic Violence Housing Navigator. And now I am honored to be part of this El Cajon Housing Connections Program and trying to do a small part in reducing the rate of homelessness here in El Cajon and housing 25 individuals. I came on board on December 1st, and I can let you know that I've housed a mother and 2 children who came from El Cajon Transitional Living Center, as well as one individual man who's been on the streets for the last 5 years in his car. I just housed him yesterday. I look forward to going out with the HOP team. Graham set up for me to go out tomorrow to meet more of the homeless, to give them my card and introduce them to Crisis House services if they haven't heard of us, that we're here. Our lobby is open to them. They can come and charge their phones. If it's too hot, too cold, they're welcome to stay for a little bit just to get a rest, a drink of water. Once they do one of our assessments, they are now eligible to come get a weekly hot meal. We've partnered with another collaboration, Kitchens for Good, where we receive these hot meals to provide to the homeless.
Well, thanks. 25 is actually a lot of people.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. Let me see if there's any questions for you amongst the council. Well, thanks. Good luck. Would you mind coming back sometime in the future and giving us an update on what you're doing?
Of course.
We'd appreciate that whenever you think is appropriate.
Right, thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Question for Doug, for the city manager. How much does the city of El Cajon spend per year roughly on homeless services, homeless-related services?
So typically, each year we spend we traditionally have spent about $100,000 on homeless services. This year, you're spending an additional $165,000, in part to pay for the Housing Navigator program, as well as a housing voucher program. And that does not include the staff time that we're working currently with the religious organizations in the community about food sharing programs. So we'll probably, when it's all said and done, spend about $250,000 this year alone.
And how about the nearby other East County cities? Have any idea how much they spend on homeless services?
I'm not aware of that, sir.
Thank you.
Are there any more, any more speakers?
No more speakers.
Okay, great. Before we move on, I did want to mention that our former Mayor Joan Schumacher's here. Joan, you can wave to everybody. She's a distinguished guest. We appreciate you coming. Thanks. All right. There are no written communications and there are no public hearings. This brings us to administrative reports. Item 4.1 is the management agreement for the East County Performing Arts Center with Live Nation. Staff, would you tell us about this, please?
I'd be happy to, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, members of the City Council. Well, it has taken a bit of time to get to this point, but here we are. On behalf of our staff and I'm sure Live Nation, we're very proud to be able to present this final draft management agreement between the City of El Cajon and Live Nation Worldwide, Inc. First, what I would like to do is to give, I think, what staff's perspective is on the major policy issues and the primary perspective of how we got to this point and what we think this management agreement and what's about to happen in the immediate future is really all about. As the City Council and many members of our community are very aware, the City Council directed back 5 years ago that ECPAC would be preserved and that we would find a different place for a hotel, which obviously we have, of the Marriott Hotel that's about to open, and to seek partners and other methodologies in order to successfully and long-term reopen the East County Performing Arts Center for this community. We've had a lot of start and stops during that 5 years, as the Council's aware, but almost a year ago in February, we informed the City Council of what at that time was ongoing discussions with Live Nation, and we requested your permission to enter into formal negotiations at that point, which the City Council gave us. On September 27th, we gave you and the community an update of proposed business points, of which are all repeated and expanded upon a little bit in today's staff report, and indicated that we felt we would be to you shortly with the final draft agreement, and here we are. In thinking about ECPAC and how to be successful so that the city and the community does not have it close a second time, the primary things that we thought we needed to do was first and foremost find the right partner that could make or break the future success of ECPAC. And we are so happy to be able to say that we found not just the right partner, but what we believe is the very best partner in the entire nation, believe it or not, for our city here in El Cajon, which is, of course, Live Nation. They're not just the premier live entertainment producer in the world, not just this country, but they're the finest live entertainment producer in the world. We have been in extensive negotiations with Live Nation representatives for a year and a half. We are aware of their almost 200 venues that they so far have in the United States, and their presence here in San Diego in the Chula Vista Amphitheater, all over Southern California, and in particular with two major venues and a smaller third venue that they have with our colleagues up in the city of Riverside. And they have had a contract, an agreement with the city of Riverside now for about 5 years. And with their knowledge, we have been in close communication with our colleagues in that city, quite frankly, to see how things are going, see what we could learn, what could we do better, and what kind of partner Live Nation was after the ink dried. And I have to tell you, going back 18 months now when our first communication with the city of Riverside started, one of the things that they said that was so important to me to move forward is they said Live Nation not only outperformed every pro forma they had ever seen, outdone all the promises it made, but they were a better partner after they signed the agreement than they were before they signed the agreement. And I think that is incredibly important because we are entering into an agreement, and we must admit there are some risks when you enter in a new agreement. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. Live Nation doesn't know exactly what's going to happen, but I think they believe they have an outstanding venue once we renovate it, and we'll talk about that in a moment, in order to do business out of and help their goals. And we have an outstanding partner in order to manage and operate the East County Performing Arts Center in the long term. The second major thing, and we have discussed this so many times over the past few years, is that if ECPAC is going to be sustainable in the long term, it must be run as a business. And that has never really occurred. I'm not going back into history. Situation was different for cities in the 70s and the 80s. A facility like ECPAC, and it's not just our Performing Arts Center. If you talk to the city of Escondido, talk to the city of Poway, talk to the cities elsewhere in California that had a similar facility, they would tell you they viewed it very much like the Ronald Reagan Community Center. It was something the city would easily and happily subsidize. People got to use it. It didn't really matter that much if there were 300 people sitting in the seats or 1,100 people in the seats. It was something the government could do and could afford to pay for and subsidize in a heavy way. Those days are over, and those days are never coming back. Our partner cities here, Poway and Escondido, we know, of course Graham, being the former city manager of Escondido, knows the amount of subsidy those cities did has drastically been reduced. I mean, drastically been reduced over the past decade because of the same reality. So in looking at a partner such as Live Nation, an agreement that is before you this afternoon, this is all about, to the maximum extent possible, running this as a business. Yes, there will be subsidy from the city of El Cajon, but a subsidy at a level that we believe is sustainable. And as we have also mentioned, that may mean that the city is going to have to deal with some of the nonprofits moving forward in a different manner. And we have addressed that issue, again, with our colleagues in the other cities about how they work successfully so their nonprofits can have certain entrance into the Performing Arts Center. And we've highlighted some of those conversations in your staff report today. We still believe it's possible. We think at a future date the City Council is going to need to talk about setting up perhaps your own limited fund to assess some of our NPOs to get into this facility. But make no mistake about it, this facility is going to be run at the highest professional level, and that costs a few dollars. That's common sense, and that's the way it needs to be done in order to be successful. A third thing is, as we talked to Live Nation over the past 18 months, and we're going through all the details that you see now in front of you and many details that you don't, that aren't even in the proposed agreement, what was so apparent and what they certainly agreed with is that the most important thing moving forward is communication between these two partners. We have specific communication set up within the draft agreement of quarterly, but we know it's actually going to be a lot more than that. Importantly, and I'm about to mention this as a fifth point, they're going to be hiring a manager. That manager will become a local manager. That manager will become a part of our community. That person's office is going to be in the building. The give and take and knowledge and what I trust is not just a business partnership, but friendship of that manager and the other employees that Live Nation is going to bring down here is going to be a very integral and important part of the success of this facility and its acceptance back into the community, again, for the long term. And the manager, you've heard me say long before we were talking to Live Nation that the manager, in this case the management company, is what ultimately is going to make or break the success of ECPAC, and nothing has happened over the years, and all the people that we've talked to has changed my mind. In fact, it's made it even more certain in my mind that this will be successful with the right people. We believe we have the right people. We believe we have the right kind of agreement in front of you, and we believe we have the right marketplace in order to be extremely successful in the future. With that as a platform, I'm not going to go through every business point in detail. We went over many of these just 3 months ago in September. They are outlined along with an additional Q&A, along with the draft agreement in your staff report. But I'll touch upon a few or reiterate a few things that we had mentioned in September. First of all, this is not a lease. This is a management agreement. Effectively, what that means is Live Nation and their folks will be acting as an extension of the City of El Cajon, an extension of their staff. As such, we will be paying them an annual management fee of $375,000 for each of the first 5 years. That 5 years is what we call Term 1. The agreement calls for a 5-year initial term and 2 additional 5-year terms on top of that. The management fee must be agreed to, and then Live Nation has the rights to claim the second and third fee. Number and type of events. The contract or attachment to the contract outlines that the minimum pro forma for year 1 will be 50 events. It will move up to 65 by year 5. We certainly hope, and again, the experience in Riverside is that Live Nation will be able to do even better, but even at those numbers of 50 up to 65, I think it's safe to say that'll revolutionize downtown El Cajon for the better just with that, and we're looking forward to see what else can happen. Day use fees. The City of El Cajon always had day use fees, both for profit and nonprofit. We will come back to you at a later point as we get closer to opening to adopt new for profit and nonprofit fees. We will be doing that based on consultation with Live Nation of industry standard in the San Diego County area. Traffic control and security, those items go hand in hand, of course, for all the years that Live Nation was open. For the most popular shows, yes, of course, you have some traffic backups on your main street. That means you're having success. But we have a lot of available parking during the off hours, sort of the weekends and Friday nights and so on here in downtown. First and foremost, of course, is the parking structure that was specifically built so many years ago for the ECPAC facility, and it's still very much available today, as is all the city parking. We've got a new parking lot just over here, relatively new parking lot on Magnolia, and there's other public parking available. We do not anticipate that being a problem. When we think about the crowd, sell out at 1,142 people, that's a lot of people. But, Mr. Mayor, earlier this afternoon, you were talking about 40,000 people being in our streets every single year, a couple of times a year, for America on Main Street and Haunt Fest, and our police and our fire and our public works department are experts at big crowd control. So 1,142 people is a lot of people, but not compared to 40,000 people. We're quite confident things are going to go very well. We've never had a single real problem with these huge crowds in all the years we've been doing this. When it comes to such things as interior crowd control and the security you would expect in a performing arts center, again, there is no one who has more expertise at this than Live Nation. This is an ongoing consultation. Our police department, our fire department will be close partners and communicators with Live Nation. And if anything comes up, we will all be working together to solve those problems. We are very confident we are not going to have any of those problems. I want to talk next about the renovation of the building, as you heard us say, in September, in order to bring ECPAC up to the level of excellence, which both Live Nation and city staff believes it must be brought up to, again, for it to be sustainable and long term. We are expecting that cost to be somewhere between $5 and $6 million to the City of El Cajon. The lion's share of that money, to be specific, will have come from the sale of our former police station a few years ago. That money is still in our bank. It was always intended by staff to use whatever was necessary out of those one-time only funds for the improvement of the East County Performing Arts Center. So moving forward, if this draft agreement is approved and turned into a final agreement this afternoon, we believe that in January we will be able to bring to you a contract immediately with an architect. We're very happy and appreciative that Live Nation has offered a group that they work with all the time. They're very familiar with all of Live Nation's very detailed needs. So no one's going to have to reinvent the wheel, if so to speak. We believe we'll be able to get moving immediately on this. We have a lot of plans that, if we outlined in September, are still good. We have to create some new things, renovate some of those building plans that we had back then. We believe that's going to take several months to do. Then, while that is going on, we are going to be bringing in front of the City Council this spring either a construction manager at risk or some other general contractor to actually do the construction. That will be after an appropriate bid procedure. We're leaning right now, don't hold me to this quite, but we're leaning to a construction manager at risk, CM at risk. That's basically how we're building the animal shelter right now. That can give us a little bit more confidence as far as final cost and give the contractor, in conjunction with our team, the architect, and Live Nations folks, a little bit more flexibility within a top price in order to make adjustments as construction goes on. When we actually get to construction, which will be mid-part this year, we don't have a specific how many months it's going to take, but our best estimate right now is we believe that's going to be a 7 to 9 month process, and that will push us, we believe, into the first quarter of 2019 for the grand opening, as we always have and we will continue to do, and Live Nation and their folks are committed to. We will do everything we can, use all of our due diligence to expedite this in every way we can. To put it simply, it is the #1 construction priority in the city for 2018, and nothing is going to get in the way of that priority. With that, Mr. Mayor, we have the draft agreement in front of you. We are more than happy to answer any further detailed questions. You had a lot of questions. In September, we tried to answer a lot of those questions in an addendum of Q&A that's in your staff report today. And before I close, I want to introduce you to our partner. And Eric, if I can ask you to come up, I'd like to introduce to the community and to the City Council for the first time Mr. Eric Berghammer. He's Executive Vice President of Live Nation. Welcome, Eric.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. Thank you very much for allowing us to come and speak with you for just a couple of moments. I just wanted to say one thing. I have the luxury of seeing lots of cities throughout the United States. You have people who care. That's a really, really powerful thing. And I think one of the most important things I can say to you today is that this is your facility. My role in this is to facilitate your needs. The last thing you need is the world's biggest concert promoter coming in telling you what you need. It's completely the opposite. I think one of the things that we do believe that we can do for you is be a partner in this and understand that you have a community and your needs are more important than ours as your operating partner in this. We have lots of dialogue. That's a very important thing. Our management team will live in your community. It's imperative that they have to see you over breakfast or over lunch or get to see any of the neighbors. That's very important to us. And bring in content that fits. I think it's imperative that that happens as well. I think what we do bring to the table that many of the others don't is being the world's biggest concert promoter. We have an economy of scale. So we have the ability to take touring routes from around the United States and have them tour through El Cajon, which is, by the way, I just got off an airplane from Madison, Wisconsin. It's much more beautiful here than anywhere else in the United States right now, by the way. So I'm sure there'll be lots of artists that will want to come because it's gorgeous. My role is I will be your point person, and it's an honor to do it. It's really enjoyable to do. I think I met our city manager in Seattle, if I'm not incorrect, some years ago when he asked me if we would be ever interested in coming to El Cajon. And I said, absolutely. And he goes, no. And I go, no, I'm serious. I'd love to. And how many years ago was that? 2 years ago. So here we are. And I think that what's probably most important for me to leave with you is my job is to make us relevant. You have a beautiful asset. It is gorgeous. You have a wonderful community, and you have people who care. That's very hard to find nowadays. Usually I have people standing at these things yelling at city council, and there is no dialogue like I saw today. So our responsibility is to make sure that that the facility becomes relevant and something you're proud of, something that fits, something that, and I said this earlier to the Assistant City Manager, Graham, there's the lease and there's the spirit of it and the partnership in it. And I think that though we're big, and I'll be the first to tell you we're very big, it doesn't mean that we're not appropriate staffed. And an example of that is each of the managers that will work in the facility, our general manager will have a whole home office support mechanism in Los Angeles. We have 9 floors of executives that all they do is focus on the buildings that we have. You know, we have a marketing floor. That's all they do is work on marketing and content and make sure, though we might have a local marketing manager, they have a whole network of vice presidents and directors and graphics people, and then there's a whole another network of people that pull data, you know, the data zoo, as we call them. They can give you the heater maps where people buy tickets, why they buy tickets, how much they buy it, and how many seconds they buy it, and it helps us work, and we communicate that, and we share that information with you because we want to be an economic engine. That's the other thing that's very important. You have some beautiful places. Matter of fact, I have lunch all over my shirt from a couple of the places that I was at today. Great food, and I think one of the things that we need to be is a partner in making sure that when we bring 1,149 people, that A, they come in, they're respectful, and B, they support the community. That's very important. And leave some tax dollars here would be very nice. And then, and the last thing is also come back again. So, you know, again, my name is Eric Berghammer, and my job is going to be your point person with Live Nation. So,
let me see if there's any questions for you. Sure. Any questions for you, gentlemen? Well, we're sure happy you were here. Thanks for coming and eating in our town and buying a new tie in our town.
And cufflinks.
And cufflinks, too?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
They're beautiful.
Bob?
You didn't come earlier in our council meetings, but for 5 years, people have been asking us to open this up again. And the heat's been on, and we're just so happy to have Live Nation as a partner and a business manager for our facility. I was in business for over 50 years, and I know how important it is to run a facility as a business, and I know that our community is going to be very happy and very blessed by your presence in our community. Thank you for stepping out and welcoming El Cajon into your fold. We welcome you into El Cajon.
Well, we have a lot to do. We have to live up to it now. That's the most important thing. But thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Council, do you have any questions of staff? Angela, do we have any speaker cards on this item?
We have a few. The first one is Robert Clark.
Hello, Mr. Clark. Welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Clark. I've lived in El Cajon about 20 years, and I want to congratulate the management of the city for moving forward with making sure that ECPAC is going to reopen, and it looks as if it will have been closed for about 10 years. But we are making progress, and I want to congratulate the management of the city for that. I haven't had a chance to go through the proposed agreement in any detail. There is one item in there that I would object to, that I would hope maybe it's not too late to remove, and that's paying Live Nation a consulting fee of $50,000 during the construction period. I can see no justification for paying this company a consulting fee. Now, they will have input into the specifications for each of these construction projects, and the companies will supposedly say they're going to comply with the specifications. And hopefully the city will keep an eye on that and make sure that they're doing what they should be doing. Why do you have to pay Live Nation a consulting fee for them to also overlook this process? So I don't see where that consulting fee is justified. And I think that's basically it. I could go on for quite some time, but that's it. Thank you.
Let me put that to the city manager and have him
Thank
answer
you.
my question.
The reason is, I alluded to this earlier, the reason is Live Nation will not be sitting on the sidelines while we're doing this design. Most of the things going into this building will be to Live Nation specific specifications. We will be overseeing their specifications more than they'll be overseeing ours. As we've gone through, and that's unusual. Normally, you wouldn't have that situation, but in this case, we have turned philosophically and by contract to Live Nation and said, what do you need in order for this to be very successful? So they're going to be far more involved in a man-hour standpoint than would normally be the case. And that is why we felt it was fair and appropriate of the $50,000 fee spread out over is probably going to be during design and the actual construction almost a year. That's not that much money when you boil it down to a per week basis, like $1,000 a week. And that's why the fee's there.
You know, with the possibility of them not being involved and doing something that was wrong, would it be safe to say that it could possibly be significantly more expensive not to have them as a consultant?
It would be very safe to say that.
Yeah, I think that's the issue. I think we are spending so many millions of dollars. We need to do it right, and if we're going to ask people to spend their time, we have to pay them at least some fee to be involved. So it's to our benefit and to their benefit as well. But thank you, I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you. I'm still not convinced. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's fine. Gary, I think Gary has something to say.
Yes. Live Nation has an expertise that no one else on this planet has. They kind of have the Midas touch. Every performing arts center they touch turns to gold, and I think it's worthwhile to pay them a reasonable fee to compensate them for their time to oversee the construction and design so it's done right. None of us are experts in remodeling a performing arts center. They are. Let's hire the best. Let's hire the experts.
Steve?
I'm going to view the consulting fee as their ability to steer us to vendors, which could be architects, which could be equipment providers, people that will actually perhaps even have economies of scale through their volume with Live Nation that they will steer to us. And that way we don't have to make mistakes learning things on our own. We are using their expertise in these negotiations with vendors, architects, and quite confidently, I think that will save us more than $50,000 and time.
That's a good point.
And I could add to that, I think the council gets this issue very much. One of the reasons that we were so appreciative of Live Nation allowing us to use the architectural firm that's already works for them and is associated is otherwise we would have been in a situation of hiring our own or rehiring the past one. They were a good firm, but we would have been paying them our money from one architectural firm to talk to their architectural firm. My estimate of the cost savings of using their expertise, their architectural firm, is probably in the $200,000 range. So that's one example to follow up what Councilmember Goebel just said is absolutely true.
It's a good question, though. It's good to go ahead and hash these things out. Do we have another speaker?
Yes, we have a couple more. Eric Lund.
Hi, Eric. Welcome.
Mr. Mayor, council members, and staff. My name is Eric Lund. I am the president of the San Diego East County Chamber of Commerce. And I just wanted to say congratulations. This is really awesome. Our chamber is all about how do we help build our business community up and how do we make our business community stronger. And having a performing arts center in the center of the city is going to do nothing but create a great economic opportunity for a lot of our businesses. So I don't have to tell all you guys that, you know it already. But it's going to be a real boon for the community and for the region. I think it's going to help us a lot. And Live Nation is a great win. So congratulations, Doug. Really great job there. So that's awesome. I also want to say that I think I would like to see Duran first. No, just kidding. But there you go. That's from my wife. I just had to throw that in there.
Oh, sure.
But seriously, it's going to be exciting when we have all these great acts here, and I know you guys are excited about it, so great job, and we're looking forward to all the construction that's going to happen. That's more jobs, more economy, and more business, and we appreciate it. Thank
Well,
you.
it's great to have the support of the chamber. Thank you.
Couple more. Bonnie Price.
Hi, Bonnie. Welcome back.
Yes. This time I'm wearing a hat, a couple hats. I was part of a group, Citizens Oversight Project, led by Ray Lutz, who is here and probably will speak, who worked on getting a report together to recommend the action that's being taken today, and I want to say thank you. We consider this EPAC a community asset. It was going to be torn down, and we got a number of people together and fought that, and wisely the city council kept the building so that today we can look forward to professional management. It seems to me like a very good plan, very businesslike. When we looked at the previous management systems, that was not true, and that was part of the reason why I think the city council at the time planned to close and destroy the building. But I think it's going to be turned into an asset, and a lot of older folks and younger folks will love to have this facility open, and I myself am looking forward to having a Christmas concert with Handel's Messiah sung in that Performing Arts Center, because it has good acoustics. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Bonnie. So we've got a plug for Duran Duran and Handel so far. So
Last speaker is Ray Lutz.
welcome, Ray.
Hello, City Council. Ray Lutz, Citizens Oversight. Well, it's been a long journey, a lot of ups and downs, but basically this is going in the right direction. It meets all the criteria that we were looking for in our group. And as I said before, to wonder if Live Nation can run this is like wondering if Starbucks can run a coffee shop. There's they can do it. It'll provide a great reason for people to come to El Cajon. I mean, what is the good reason to come to El Cajon? There isn't really there's a few restaurants and things here that are unique, but this is going to provide a real reason to come to El Cajon and cure a lot of the reputation problems that we've heard about. And I think this is the first time the city has taken their responsibility seriously to run this civic asset. You guys have not been taking your responsibility. It's had a fence around it for 10 years. This was donated. A lot of people donated. There's still a Steinway grand piano that was donated somewhere down in the depths, so I hope it still works. But I'd like to make a few comments about what I read. The use by the city, the 12 days each year to be assigned to whomever it chooses by the city. I'm worried about that. Why? Because the city has done some stupid things in the past, and I'm worried what kind of groups you're going to bring in there. And is it going to be open to the public to make comments? This is one of the regrets I have about how Doug runs this, even though he's done a good result, but the public was not involved. There's been no public participation hearings. There's been nothing for years. I mean, I should have been called if there was anything going on. Nothing. All behind closed doors. And this is just the way it's done. It's a good result, but the public's not involved. And the problem is, this is the kind of thing where you need the public to be involved because we want them involved in the theater. The local activities, GCCA has folded. They did last year after trying to wait for this thing to open. They're folded after 72 years. So the theater wasn't open, not available, and you lost an asset that had been around for 72 years. Well, maybe we can get them restarted. But they were a package deal. They sell the package. They didn't ticket for every event. Therefore, marketing fees were lower, and they could fill the house for every event. Hopefully that can be supported in the ticketing, the way they're doing ticketing here. I saw it, everything had to be ticketed, probably through Ticketmaster. We don't want that to necessarily be the case for that kind of organization, even though they were paying full price. No problem paying for it, but they didn't want to go through the ticketing. Political activities, you say no political activities. I don't think you can do that. This is First Amendment. You can't say no political activities. It has to be allowed. So that has to be out of the contract, in my view. We recommended cup holders. Nobody liked that idea, but it looks like they're following the idea. We actually found the arms that could replace all the cup holders. Got to do that. You want to sell drinks.
We've run out of time, Ray, but do you...
Can you extend my time, please?
How much time do you need, Ray?
Only just a little bit longer.
Okay.
I mean, I've worked for years on this.
That's true. You have put a lot of time and effort to it. I grant
we
that.
suggest that the city consider our recommendation that an LED graphic sign near the freeway be considered to advertise the events in the city. I know this was turned down before. You thought it would be too ugly. A lot of cities have these, and it would be good to be able to advertise these. So consider that. The pro forma is not in there, so I don't really know how much it's going to cost. I have no idea. I mean, this is great. I think it'll be fine, but how can you approve it without knowing? Did you guys get the cost? I mean, you think you'd have to know that before you approve it. So again, thank you very much. You're going in the right direction. Our group, Save Act PAC, we recommended basically this thing. We're sorry to see the thing was closed for 10 years, but thank you very much for going in the right direction.
Before you go, so we've had a plug for Duran Duran and Handel's Messiah. What do you say? Being the grandfather of the Save ECPAC movement.
Well, I'd like to see the GCCA come back to life. I mean, it died, and I'd like to see that.
Oh no! Come on, play with me. What music group do you want?
We had all kinds of groups there. I'd say bring the Dixie Chicks back.
Dixie Chicks, okay. Yeah. I wouldn't have expected that, but
that's great. They had their first show here.
Fantastic. Thank you, Ray.
Mr. Mayor, I want to address one thing.
Yeah.
The contract does not say there's no political events. It says all events, including political events, must be ticketed. We do have the right to say everything needs to be ticketed. Political events can be there all they want, but they must be ticketed. And there is extensive cost information in the staff report.
I believe we've had several public hearings about this.
25 appearances on ECPAC over the last 6 years on this issue.
Okay. More public comments?
No more cards.
Okay. Gentlemen, any further discussion about this? Gary?
Just a comment. I think this is the biggest thing that happened to El Cajon in the last 50 years. It's going to play a big part in the continued revitalization of our city. Everybody wins.
Bob?
I would ditto that and say that this will bring a lot of people into El Cajon that haven't been here ever, or possibly in a few years. There'll be a lot of money spent down in El Cajon, which is going to help all of the businesses and probably bring in some more businesses. And so it's good for the community as a whole. And I think that as a result of, I'm sure the city will be able to raise some money from some of the things that are going on from the other businesses. There'll be more tax dollars. So I think that the amount that we're going to pay to Live Nation is kind of negligible, because I think the people that come in to spend their dollars here, they'll offset those dollars that we're giving to Live Nation. So congratulations, City Manager Doug Wilford.
Thank you.
Good job.
Steve?
As a marketing professional, this is very exciting because it tremendously impacts the image of El Cajon, which positively impacts the value of businesses, homeowners, things like that. I also have to put on the hat of taxpayer advocate, and so I did read through the 23-plus page contract. I do have a couple of comments. In item 2.2 on page 2 of the contract, it talks about Live Nation has the option for 2 5-year extensions. So this is potentially a 15-year contract. We're investing $8 million into this thing, so it's very sobering to me in that sense. Item 3.1 contains a clause which I would like to suggest the council modify. In it, on 3.1, it says, which shall be approved by the legislative body. It talks about the management fees. The management fees at the end of the first term shall be renegotiated by the owner and the manager, which shall be approved by the legislative body. In my experience negotiating contracts, the word shall means you will do this. And my concern is which shall be approved by the owner's legislative body takes away choice for the council to approve or do something other than approve the management fee in year 6 or so on. So can Mr. Foley or Mr. Williford offer any comments on changing the language of 3.1? I'm doing this in the context of protecting taxpayers against a downside.
I think the intent of this is that it can't be a fee that only Live Nation agrees to. It's going to have to be approved by the City Council. So it will be brought before the City Council for approval after negotiating by the city staff.
So even though it says shall be, we don't have that.
It doesn't mean that whatever they throw at us, we have to approve.
Okay, thank you. As far as ECPAC being closed for the past 10 years, prior to becoming on the council, I've only been on the council for a year, but I think it was very prudent for the council not to reopen ECPAC, start it, stop it, restart it, stop it. That would have been a tremendous cost to taxpayers over the past 10 years to subsidize something in a start-stop situation. So I applaud my colleagues who have been here before me to say that was a responsible use of taxpayers' money to wait for the right people at the right time, which is now. This is good for businesses in El Cajon. I noticed in the backup that Riverside, which is a great bellwether for this example, had a subsidy of $1 million per year before Live Nation came in. Live Nation came in, and now that has dropped to only $200,000 subsidy. Imagine if that only costs the citizens of El Cajon $200,000 a year to have a tremendous experience. I think that's, well, Riverside said it. They said Live Nation has been an excellent partner. So I look forward to that as well. This is good for businesses. This is good for remodeling jobs. This is good for caterers. This is good for restaurants. This is good for party supply, chair rentals, table rentals. This is good for El Cajon.
Thank you so much, Steve. Well, I'd just like to say before we vote on this that it's natural and correct for us to be talking about money and contracts and responsibilities and renovation. But I just want to remind everybody that there's another value to this. As a musician, I've been a musician all my life. The music and the arts, drama, all the things that come with the Performing Arts Center is very valuable and vital to the community at large. And some things we do just because it's a good thing to do. You know, sometimes you might send your kids to private school rather than put them in public school, and it might cost the family a lot more. But the value of it for that particular child and for your family, you make a decision that it's worth it. We're never going to make money off the Performing Arts Center. We'll probably always have to pay some kind of subsidy. But I think what it brings to the community is really valuable, and I think we'll all be happy in the long run that we did this. So I commend the council for the decision. I commend the community for your patience. And now that we're here, let's just be excited about what's coming. And having said that, I'll leave it to you, council, to make a motion.
Second.
Motion's been moved and seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries. Motion carries by a 4-0 vote with Councilmember Colasso absent.
Congratulations. Hope to see you all down here for the first show and eating some of our great restaurants, and we really appreciate you being here. All right, moving on to item 4.2 is selection of Mayor Pro Tem. I'd like to ask staff to introduce this item.
Mr. Mayor, at this time each year, the City Council decides on a Mayor Pro Tem for a 12-month period. The current Mayor Pro Tem is Councilmember Bob McClellan.
Well, we thank Bob for his hard work this year and for representing us so well. How many times have you been Mayor Pro Tem? 3. Bob's a stalwart. I'd like to suggest that we ask Garrett Kendrick if he would be willing to serve for this next year, unless anybody has any objections.
Yes, I would.
I'd like to make a motion that we do that. Moved and seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries by a 4-0 vote with Councilmember Colasso absent.
Congratulations, Gary. Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
doing what. There's actually a lot of service that comes with that without much accolade, so thank you for your hard work, Gary.
Thank you.
I forgot to ask. I apologize. Do we have any speaker cards on this item?
No cards.
Okay. Then we'll leave things as they stand. There's no commissioner reports. Item 6.1 is my activity report, which is as reported. Item 6.2 is the legislative report, and I have nothing to add at this time. We are now at the activity reports of council members Garrett Kendrick.
As reported.
Bob McClellan.
As reported.
Steve Goebel.
As reported.
There are no joint council member reports and no general information items for discussion. There are no first readings of ordinances. Item 14.1, however, is the second reading and adoption of 4 ordinances for the mixed-use overlay. We'll ask our city clerk to read this item and vote on each one. Angela, are there any speaker cards on this item?
No speaker cards.
So Angela is our new city clerk, and we forgot to tell you that you have to do this by memory.
It is by memory.
So
It is.
if you stand up there with no notes and no. Angela, would you please recite the title of ordinance for zone reclassification number 2320?
An ordinance rezoning property located on the west side of Marshall Avenue between Peachtree Street and Arnell Avenue from the M Industrial and CM Heavy Commercial and Light Manufacturing Zone to the CR Regional Commercial, and the property located on the north side of East Main Street between First Street and South Anza Street from the RS6 Single Family Residential Minimum 6,000 square feet to CG General Commercial, General Plan Designation, Regional Commercial, RC, and General Commercial, GC, APNs 482-190-34, 482-190-40, 482-190-47, and 489-130-19.
Well done. May we have a motion then?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries by a 4-0 vote with Councilmember Colasso absent.
Angela, would you then recite the title of ordinance for zoning code amendment 432?
An ordinance amending Title 17 of the El Cajon Municipal Code for the application of the mixed-use overlay zone to various properties, amending the mixed-use overlay Chapter 17.135, amending Chapter 17.125 to include new provisions for common interest developments, and adopting a mixed-use overlay and mixed-use residential required overlay zone map.
May I have a motion for this?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries by a 4-0 vote with Councilmember Colasso absent.
Angela, would you please recite the title for the ordinance to amend specific plan 19?
An ordinance amending specific plan number 19 to require further review for a reduction in commercial space of 10,000 square feet or more.
Have a motion, please.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please vote.
Motion carries by a 4-0 vote with Councilmember Calacho absent.
Angela, would you please recite the title of ordinance to amend Specific Plan 182?
An ordinance amending specific plan number 182 to eliminate conflicts between the downtown specific plan with a mixed-use overlay zone.
So I'd like to make a motion.
Second.
Moved and seconded, please vote.
Motion carries by unanimous vote of those present with Councilmember Calacho absent.
Our closed session has been canceled. That brings us to adjournment. The regular joint meeting of the El Cajon City Council, El Cajon Housing Authority, successor agency to the El Cajon Redevelopment Agency, held this 12th day of December 2017, is adjourned until next year, January 9th, 2018, at 3 o'clock p.m. Thank you very much.